Okay, we've gone live. I hope we're live in all of the platforms, including Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, give me a shout out and let me know for sure that you are there. But today I want to talk about not being behind, but the concept of recalibrating. So did Memorial Day sneak up on anybody else or was it just me? Because I looked up last week and thought, wait a minute, how are we already here? We have a local Optimist Club, and they put the American flag in everyone's front yard. It's a fundraiser for the Optimists who do things for the children. And I was watching the flags go up, and I thought, oh, well, gosh, those people are extra patriotic. And then I realized as I came back into town, there were more and more and more. And it was like, oh, no. It's Memorial Day already, and the funny thing is, as I started to say that out loud with someone else, I'm like, "Did you realize it's Memorial Day this weekend?" And they're like, "Well, yeah." But also more and more people that I said it out loud in front of, they didn't realize it was Memorial Day either. It's like the whole calendar jumped forward, and our bodies, our mind, and our spirit, we're still trying to catch up. So today I want to talk about time management, and that seems to be it's a very large theme in my life. And sometimes I feel when I talk about divine timing and being in alignment with your divine timing, sometimes it feels like it's kind of an excuse. And I don't really think that it is. I think that there are so many timelines and so much energy crossing over that sometimes when it feels like we say, I'm behind, what we really mean is that I need a minute to come back to myself, to collect everything. So today, you're not behind, you are recalibrating. So, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, or if you're catching the replay. I'm so glad you're here for my Transformation Tuesday. I'm Amanda Beth with Amanda Beth Healing. I am an author, an intuitive reader and healer, and also a speaker. And if you're watching me live, say hello in the comments. I love to see everybody and tell me where you're joining from. But I want you to know that Memorial Day did feel early this year. Did it feel early for you? Did it sneak up on you? Drop in the comments if you had the same moment. And how are we already here at this unofficial start to summer? Here in the Midwest, Memorial Day, it's not just a holiday weekend. It marks a shift. And I really like to stick with the traditions of the traditions and what Memorial Day is. Memorial Day is a day that we remember all those that we lost, primarily those who we are losing in battle and in the wars is the Memorial Day. The day originally, I did a dive on this last year, and so we'll bring up what I can remember. It was originally called Decoration Day. And that was the day that we went to the cemeteries and we decorated, cleaned up, spruced up, added flowers, added flags, added whatever we wanted to cemeteries, to the grave markers. And so that's the tradition. But I think that we have fallen so much away from that, and we really use Memorial Day as the kickoff of summer. Kids are getting out of school, pools are opening, campgrounds and lakes start filling up, the river, the boats, the family gatherings, the summer foods, and those altered schedules. It all really begins to move. And so we take all of these things into consideration as where this seasonal shift is and how it feels exciting. And sometimes it's like, whoa, I'm not ready for this. Um, our weather pattern has been interesting. So I don't know that I'm ready to really break out the flip flops and sandals for summer because I may need my tennis shoes. And I'm one of those people, once I flip from tennis shoes and go into my sandals, I don't want to take my sandals off again and put tennis shoes on until the snow flies. So just kind of think about Memorial Day. What does this mean for you? is this a time for rest? Is this for family? Is this a time where you process grief? In going back to the origins of why we take this day to remember those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms here in the United States. And right now, with everything going on in the globe, I think it's really important to remember the freedoms that we do have. Um, I have a friend who is not from the US. He's lived here most of his life, but acknowledging the amazing freedoms that we have and that just we really don't give credit to that. And so I think it's important to take time for this reset. So put it in the comments. What is it that this weekend means for you? For me, it's been a time warp, and it's kind of like those checkpoints. End of first quarter, time for a checkpoint here. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like an absolute time warp. And I know here in Transformation Tuesday, we've talked several times about feeling that we got a late start on the year. And I think it's interesting how I myself tend to reterm this. It's like, oh, well, we didn't jump onto New Year's with our calendar. We're going to jump into the Chinese New Year and spring forth with that. We're going to, not rush ourselves. Things need to take the time that they need to take, and you need to honor that and be easy with yourself. It's not you forgot a date. Don't beat yourself up on it. It's how do we get here already, and what are we doing? What are we doing? How are we using our time? And making conscious awareness of how you use your time. These weeks are just flying by. We're surrounded by calendars and phones and reminders dinging, notifications and schedules. But sometimes we feel so disconnected. And I find the more disconnected I am, the more reminders I need on my phone. I need a reminder to set a reminder, to listen to a reminder, to check the next thing on the schedule. That's a little excessive, but it's where we are. And so it comes back to how do you get back into rhythm? When we do this, we can be on schedule and we can still be out of rhythm. So have you felt that lately? Do you feel like the calendar says one thing, but your body, mind, and spirit says another? Like, wait a minute, where did we come? So drop that in the comments if you've had that feeling of, yeah, I need a second to catch up, to take a breath. This weekend, that was my catch up. That was my breath. We went glamping. I'd like to call it camping, but let's be real. We do have a camper. We have a river lot. Everything is there and is set. So it is more of glamping, but it is such a gift for me. We're right along the river, and that river just really reminds me of how much I personally need nature to really bring myself back and to reconnect. Water has always been a reset for me. I mean, I have the float and I do float regularly, just floated last night. And that helps with a reset. But for me to be next to the river where that water is flowing by, it's such a natural reset for me. It clears me, it softens me, and it really helps my nervous system to breathe again, to be disconnected, where it's one place on the globe that I really enjoy having a poor signal, where you're not so tempted to be online, where my phone sits on the picnic table and I don't receive messages. I don't return phone calls. I just take time for me. And so let's talk about how we do that, how you can do this. If you don't have the opportunity to go sit by a river or go take some time in nature, sometimes, just feel what it would feel like. So if you can imagine yourself there, picture yourself there, feel what it's like when you're there. You can close your eyes with me right now and think about this, unless you're driving. Please don't do that if you're driving. And feel what it feels like to be where your calm is. Do you feel your shoulders drop? Do you feel that your breathing changes? And maybe your mind stops racing so much. Just breathe that in and know that you can return to this kind of still point at any point in time. And we've only taken a minute or so to slow things down and get caught back up with you and your timing, where you're at. You don't need another productivity hack. I've got how many of them lined up, how many notebooks and cards and wipe off boards and um, brain flossing music or the audaty music, whatever you need to bring you back. But sometimes it's just sitting and being still. We need the trees, the water, the quiet, the fresh air, and a little bit of space from all that technology. Water reminds me that I don't have to force the reset. I can return to that reset. So think about it. What is your reset? When we just sat and we recollected ourselves, where were you? Where did you imagine yourself? Was it water? Was it woods? Was it a fire? Gardening? Did you picture yourself going for a walk or sitting on a porch? Sometimes it's just the silence to put you in your reset. So put that in the comments. And eager to see where you are because all of those things are resets for me. One of the things that I noticed when I was camping is how good it felt to be away from technology. And we know I'm not anti-technology. I'm coming to you live. I'm streaming. This is like the best of technology. But there's a difference in using your technology and being consumed by it. You know, your phone, that thing in your hand, it just keeps you so connected, but can also keep you constantly reachable, constantly scrolling and reacting and constantly comparing. And I know I tell you every week the goal I set of not spending so much screen time, you know, allowing me to look only at notifications and not following, not allowing reels to autoplay because that really consumes a lot of my time and it really takes me out of rhythm. And so when you're always plugged in, it's harder to hear your own rhythm, your own thoughts. What are you thinking about things? And I find interesting is what I see in my feed versus what other people are seeing in their feeds and they're telling me and they're like, aren't you seeing this? Isn't, you know, aren't you worried? Aren't you concerned? And so it just shows us that where you focus is what grows. And the same thing happens in your algorithm. When you look at the fear mongering things or the things that are not as pleasant and kind and wonderful, you see more of those. And I think that's it's a huge toll on your nervous system. You really need to reset. So, do you feel different when you get away from your phone for a while? I mean, even a few hours? Let me know in the comments. You know, I always feel kind of excited sometimes when I leave the house and realize I don't have my phone, and I'm okay with that. I think that's a good thing. Sometimes it's disappointing when you come back and you realize that no one reached out to you and you were fretting over nothing. But sometimes it's nice to be away from your phone. And hopefully you do it on a way that is that you chose to. It's not because you lost your phone. Okay. Um, so yeah, let's look a little deeper at this. We've talked about some of the distractions. We've talked about timing and how timing falls here. But because we live in a world with calendars, we need calendars. We have appointments, holidays, work, schedule, deadlines, family events, and all the things. But that calendar is a tool. It's not the keeper of your worth. The calendar doesn't decide whether you're behind or whether you're failing, whether you missed your chance or whether you're too late. It's what we come back to in our own divine timing that lets you know where you are. And divine timing really does not look efficiently at all. And I look at different populations of people and how much value they place on time. And I know that here in the States, we put so much energy into you have to work a 9 to 5 job. If you're not working, if you work part-time, you're less than, or all of these judgments that come from all of that. And it's not about what you do. It's about how you use your time. I know there's a lot of people that can get more done in a part-time job than 3 people get in a full-time job. It's how you use your resources and getting away from that indoctrination, being able to follow your divine timing. Sometimes it looks like you're on pause or you took a detour. And sometimes it looks like sitting by the river long enough to remember who you are. I know in the off season, our river lot is not necessarily on the way too much of anything, but taking that detour and going there and reconnecting, I get all the time that I spent going there and then some back when I do the reset. So just remember that your calendar, that's why you can edit your calendar. It's a tool. It's clearly not a measurement of your worth. So, can you think of where you've been telling yourself that you're behind? Don't share the details or anything, but if this is landing with you, just comment I'm recalibrating and just think of that. When your GPS goes and you decide you want to stop at the gas station, you need to, grab a water, you need to go to the restroom, you need fuel, and your GPS just starts in recalibrating, recalibrating, recalculating, take a U-turn. This is the pause. This is the pause button I wish I had on my GPS. I don't need her talking to me and telling me that I'm missing out on something because I very purposely went in. I very purposely am taking a pause in my trip. So let me know if you're recalibrating on something and you're able to see beyond that calendar, beyond that constant drive to be busy. Because being busy does not mean you're productive. Having 72 tabs open on your computer does not mean you're focusing, does not mean you're getting 72 things done. So, some of the things that I really want to offer today is that, first of all, what if you are behind? In whose world are you behind? In whose time frame? And who does that affect? Yes, getting meals on the table, that's kind of important for other people. But some of the other things that you really challenge yourself on with timing, how important is it in the big picture when you step back? What if you're not behind? What if you are recalibrating? What if the part of you that feels tired is not lazy but wise? When we came back from camping, I was incredibly tired. I had so much fresh air. We did a lot of different things. We were boating. We had the dogs. We had all the first time camping setup things that you do, getting things into place. It wasn't all just relaxation. And I felt tired. You know what? I went to bed and I slept. I slept really, really hard. But I honored that. It wasn't because I was lazy. It was because I needed to sleep. And if I didn't honor my body and my feeling, then I would carry that I'm still tired into several days and I would be less productive. So, what part of your life needs that space so that you can reconnect with it? Is it you just need rest? Is it that you need to take a bigger break, that you need to do something? What if that whole time warp feeling is not proof that you're failing, but it's an invitation to come back into your own rhythm? And I think that there are so many things going on right now. And the more and more people I talk to, the more and more people are telling me how time is speeding up. And I don't know that we need to compete with it as much as we really need to honor ourselves. Just because the calendar moved forward doesn't mean you missed your moment. It means your moment wasn't ready. And so I think if you can kind of look at these things as separate operating systems, you have you and your body, mind, and spirit, and what pace and rhythm you are at. And then we can pull in pieces from the calendar as they fit instead of trying to take your whole being and make it fit into another calendar. Because who puts those things on the calendar? Who has those ideas? Are those ideas that you wanted to do? Because I bet you if it was something that you wanted to do and you wanted to complete, it would be done. You wouldn't be having the guilt over it. Most of that guilt of not being productive comes from everyone else's ideas and where you should be. So take a breath. Breathe it all the way into your toes and exhale. And ask yourself, am I actually behind, or am I being invited to recalibrate? And this is where I'm going to throw in our angel card today. Our angel today is the angel of honesty. And she says, when I'm honest with myself, I feel the security and support of my soul in my mind and my heart. The first step to be honest with yourself, and the first step is to be honest with yourself, and that means to be free. From the very beginning, in any situation, if you choose clarity and honesty, everybody will feel at ease with the truth and will bring congruence to your feelings and actions. No further clarification is necessary, and all flows with beauty and dynamicism. That's a big word. So, our angel card today is also saying the same thing, being honest to be free, and do this from the beginning. And then when you choose that honesty and that clarity, everyone else falls in place, and you have what you need to keep moving forward. So let's take a moment together. Like I say, don't close your eyes if you're driving or moving around, but if you can, at least soften your shoulders. Let's take another breath in and exhale. And now, with this next breath in, I want you to feel in your body and exhale. Notice in your body where you feel rushed. Take another nice deep breath in and exhale. Where have you been telling yourself, I should be farther along now? Do you feel those spots? Do you feel where it is? And now gently and slowly say to yourself, I release the pressure to be anywhere other than I am. I honor the timing of my body. I honor the timing of my healing. I honor the timing of my becoming. I can move forward without abandoning myself. I can reset without starting over. I can trust that I am here, and here is where the next step begins. And if that feels true to you, just take that in and know that you can return to this feeling at any point in time. I think kind of one of the most powerful statements there is that I can trust that I'm here and here's where the next step begins. I think that's so important. So as you move on into the summer, now the Memorial Day has kicked it off, I want you to think about what kind of rhythm you actually want. Not what the calendar demands, not what social media tells us that summer should look like, not what everyone else is doing. I do highly recommend camping though. But but what does your spirit need as we enter into this next season? Do you need more play? Do you need more rest? Do you need more water and sunshine or more quiet? Do you need to stop pretending that you're behind and start honoring what's actually ready to grow? So put in the comment what's one thing you want to call in for this summer season. One word: rest, joy, clarity, play, healing, freedom, flow. Just pop that in the comments. So if Memorial Day snuck up on you too, maybe you're not alone. Many of us are feeling this time warp because we're being invited to return to rhythm instead of just chasing that calendar. And know that you're not behind, you're not late, you're not missing it, you're recalibrating. And sometimes that recalibration is sacred. I know when I come back from my glamping trips, everything seems to fall into place so much better. And I stop chasing this mouse wheel, that wheel of productivity. When I'm in good timing and I'm in alignment, I chase the things that are important to me, not taking on every little task that comes by. So sometimes the most productive thing you can do is pause long enough to hear yourself again. I know we talk about this a lot. Calling in that intuition when you feel good and you feel aligned in your body. And now we're going to talk about feeling aligned in your divine timing. So you feel like your energy, your timing, your nervous system, if that has really felt scrambled, um, I would love to support you as you reconnect. Sometimes we don't need to push harder. We need to look at where the pressure and the old beliefs and those energetic blocks are pulling us out of our natural rhythm. So you can definitely connect with me at amandabethhealing.com/linktree. That will get you into wherever it is you want to connect, the best way that works for you to connect with me. And also, all of these Transformation Tuesdays, those are on YouTube. You can definitely like, subscribe, and don't forget to leave me some comments, something that you want to hear about. Um, so, I wanted to talk about the Chronic Health Collective. This is coming up. I was I look forward to seeing you all next week. Oops. There we go.